Welcome, hotshots, to Flashlight by Firepower X. Here you can find the industrial strength tools you need to dominate your personal and professional wellness as a firefighter. My name is Jess. I am creator of Firepower X and your host for today's webinar. It's my absolute pleasure to introduce today's special guest, Captain Josh Curtaccio of Brighton Township Fire Department. Josh has 28 years of experience in the fire service and is a retired Air Force veteran with 22 years of service to our country as well. He's also spent 19 years in law enforcement, and he also holds an associate's in criminal justice, a bachelor's in organizational leadership, and a master's in law and public policy. Welcome, Josh. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks, Jess, for having me. This is awesome.
Yeah. So full disclosure, Josh used to be like my arch nemesis when I first joined the fire department. Josh and I grew up together because I started at the Fish Fries at 12, but we had been in the same classes we literally grew up together.
As my kids would say back in the 1900s.
I guess the 80s and 90s do feel like that at this point. Yes. But now we're cool, so I'm so happy to it took that long.
Yep.
But yeah, we were always competing for your father's love.
yes, that is a true statement. Absolutely. That's what happens when dad's the chief and everybody.
Yes, that's what happens.
Yep.
Everybody wants to be in chief's good favor. So my first question is, what happened? What happened? Because there's not volunteer in BT VFD anymore. Are you guys a hybrid department now?
Yes. So it's been 8 years now. We switched to a combination model. They would initially hire 8 part-time firefighters that would cover midnight and daylight, and then us volunteers would cover the 4 to 12 shifts for calls and things like that. But with the call volume in Brighton Township, since we're still a growing community and everything, it has morphed into now we have 3 full-time firefighters, and we still have 8 part-time, at least one person 24/7, but we're pushing normally at least 16 hours a day. We have 2 people on staff, or like today, us volunteers can do associate shifts where I get paid a per diem stipend. So like today I did an 8-hour shift to backfill because some of the full-time guys were out on training today. But yeah, so with the decline in volunteers, just like when we joined, you had to fight to get on the fire truck.
Oh, yeah.
If you were not near the station, you weren't getting on the truck. It's just simple as that. And now we joke that we can take our pick now because there's maybe 4 of us showing up as volunteers. So it has definitely declined dramatically since I started officially in 1997. I think we had 60 people on the roster in 97. We're down to, I think on the volunteer side, I think we have 25.
Oh, wow.
Okay. That's counting retired guys and everything.
What happened culturally between then and now?
Well, a lot of things changed. The big thing, COVID gave us a big hit because people were worried about things. But
yeah,
out here in Brighton Township, I think it got accelerated because with housing costs out here, it's expensive to live out here. The median house price is $400,000, and you and I know when we got out of high school or out of college, we couldn't afford that. I probably still don't want to, but we would keep the younger people for a little while, and then they move away, and then when they come back, they have a family. They're not going to re-enter the fire service. But then also, it's just a generational shift. I bring this up all the time when we talk about it. With me working for the police department, I drive around, look at everybody. I tell people all the time, like, nobody cuts their own grass. Nobody works on their own car. Nobody does any of that stuff. Good, bad, or indifferent, to each their own. But if they're not taking time to do that, they're not going to take time out of their day to come to the fire station, which you and I know it will chew your time up like nobody's business. Like it will envelop your life.
Yes.
Cause divorces, do everything. Like it can, even on the volunteer side, paid side, it definitely puts a strain on the families. And I get it, like no compensation, especially with the way the economy is, it's not helping us any. Definitely everybody's looking for compensation for their time. So it's a myriad of things. And we're like every other community where the struggle is real. And I'll be honest, even finding paid firefighters in this area. Beaver County is not a destination for people. It's not like going to the DC metro area where all the big paid fire departments are. They pay good.
Yeah.
We don't have that kind of recruiting tool. So even finding quality paid firefighters has been a challenge for us. So we're batting upstream here quite a bit, trying to get people in the door. And the rest, those of us that are here aren't getting any younger. It's getting kind of interesting.
Yeah. Where is it headed? Do you have some contingency plans of how you're going to get people in?
So we've been trying a bunch of different things. We do the associate programs. Like everybody's paid on call now, even the regular volunteers. There's a stipend for calls. Your pay is based off training levels. We tie that in to try to push people for firefighter one, firefighter two, things like that. Because the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania still has no minimum standard for firefighters.
Are you serious?
Yeah, the Commonwealth has still not done anything, so there's no minimum
Mhm.
standard. We push everybody to firefighter one. We are very generous. We give them 5 years to get it once they join. Other departments have tightened it down more, but we still have that stipulation. If you don't have your firefighter one in 5 years, that we have
Mhm.
to part ways. We try to push the trainings. We try to do the incentives. We've been getting into the schools, trying to get some of the younger kids into this, which
Mhm.
we've gotten a couple. But again, when they leave for college and their careers, like they go on to other things. Actually, we've probably lost 3 or 4 now to career departments in the DC area over in the last 4 or 5 years.
Mhm.
Good quality firefighters, but they want to make a career of it, and we can't provide that right now.
Yeah.
Our full-time staff is fairly new, and the pay isn't there. We just can't compete with that kind of stuff. So in the
Yeah.
end, we have a safer grant for recruitment retention. We have a paid guy that's recruitment retention coordinator. Like I
Mhm.
said, we hit the schools, we do the touch of trucks.
Mhm.
We can try and engage everybody we have, but
Mhm.
moving forward, I'll be honest, like the paid side's probably going to be picking up more and more. But in my mind, there'll always be volunteers here,
Mhm.
but we'll be the back seaters, not the front seaters like it has been. And the township seems to be on board with that right now because they understand that it is a liability. We
Mhm.
got to get the trucks out the door. Like this year, we're going to hit 1,000 calls probably for the year for a little Brighton Township that's
Yeah.
moving. Like
Yeah.
you remember when we did a couple hundred, we were like, oh my God, we're so busy. Like we do like 97 in a month.
What's your population growth?
We're just under 10,000 now. It's sort of different because there's more houses and less people in the houses. Our 55 and older population has grown because they just 2 years ago now
Mhm.
added a 4-story 55 and older retirement apartment building.
Mm.
115 units. And then St. Barnabas owns part of the township now, and they're talking about doing patio homes as a retirement village. So our EMS call load has skyrocketed because the amount of retirees we have moving in. We're definitely
Mhm.
have a bigger demographic of 55 and older people than we did years
Mhm.
ago.
You guys doing your own transport now?
No, we are not. We
Okay.
are a BLS squad right now. We have an agreement with our local ambulance medic rescue that if they
Mhm.
send us a supervisor, we complete their crew and transport that way.
Okay.
Just recently, Northwest EMS Allegheny County is renting a bay out of one of our stations.
Oh, okay.
So they have an ALS squad and an ALS ambulance there, and if it's available to us also. There's talks of an ambulance. All us old school guys are fighting it. We also know that it's probably needed. Another issue we're looking at though is the way the mutual aid agreements are written in Pennsylvania, where it's a statewide mutual agreement for EMS. Is that
Mhm.
not that we don't want to support other communities, but we don't use taxpayer money to fund an ambulance that's never in the township. So that's a
Yeah.
big concern. And that's probably one of the biggest hurdles for us getting one. There's talks about it.
I'll be honest, that was never my favorite part of fire was the EMS part.
Well,
Like as soon as I started doing that, I was just like, I like fire. Out here in Colorado, that's like the majority of what these paid departments run. They just do EMS and it's all like the same patients over
yeah.
and over again, taking them to detox. I think that's part of what's burning out a lot of the firefighters because it's
Well,
like the fun stuff is so little.
yeah,
So,
so we're in the same boat. So we handle like lift assist and things like that on our own now.
mm,
And we're about 60-40, 60% EMS, 40% fire on our call load. And it's the same ones over and over again, same patients.
yeah,
The guys do get tired of it, especially when you go to the same place 6 times in the same day for somebody falling over.
yeah,
Guys are like, come on, like this is just, yeah.
yeah.
Definitely the EMS side is definitely burning everybody out. And the bad thing is Beaver County, the call loads getting higher and higher, and there's less ambulances on the road than before. So it's just, again, it comes back to the funding factor. Nobody has the money to do anything anymore.
Is your paid team now, are most of them EMTs as well, or?
Yes, so it's a requirement for us for the paid side. They have to be firefighter one EMT, have the
Mhm.
rescue certs, things like that.
Mhm.
And that was part of the BLS squad we have. We have to staff it with EMTs at least. We do have 4 paramedics on staff, but we don't have an ALS license yet. Yeah, we're trying to, again, burn everybody out, not add too
Yeah.
much service with not
Yeah.
enough personnel. We're trying to find that balance where we have the people to do the services we want to give and not wear out the people that actually are coming in.
We haven't talked about this for a while, but I know your heart was really always in law enforcement. You always really wanted to be a cop. So what keeps you going back to the fire department? Because I know your
Overall,
life is busy. You got a
yes,
full life.
yes, definitely. I still enjoy being a police officer. I'm one of the few weirdos who is cross-trained in all ways. But this is a good respite for me from dealing with people on that side when basically I get told off when I show up at somebody's house, where here I show up and they're like, hey, glad to see you. It's a nice change of pace. And having, like I said, growing up in the station, it's my second home, and being with the guys and hanging out and stuff like that, that's what keeps me coming back. And then truthfully, now I'm kind of hanging on. My son's 13. He wants to join because, like, well, 25 years I could have retired. I could
Yeah.
have been had my life membership. But part of it is now he wants me to hang in there because he wants me to be here, whatever he wants to join when he turns 16. I promised I might stick around, but I have been starting to take more of a back seat and try and let the younger guys do a lot of that. Because you remember I used to do a lot of stuff around here. My life is a chaos all the time. I've been trying to turn over some of that to the paid guys and some of the younger guys that don't have the responsibilities that I have at home yet.
Yeah. No, you and I we were constantly there. Are you a second generation firefighter though?
Yeah, I'm second.
Nice. So
Yeah,
your son will be third.
dad was the first one ever, and then me, and then yeah, Easton will be third generation. So
Cool.
which is
Yeah,
weird to think about.
it is. Oh man, I feel old.
Yeah. It really doesn't feel that long ago that you and I were the juniors here driving
Oh,
everybody crazy.
I know. It's crazy. And then being in midlife now and like, oh my God, another 40 years. How are we going to feel?
Yeah, yeah,
I guess everyone feels 18 in their own head. I don't know. Maybe that's just
yeah.
normal for everybody. All right. Now that we've kind of revealed that you're a sergeant on the side or your main gig, let's talk about police versus fire culture. So, what's happening over on law enforcement side? Are they having the same recruitment issues?
In Western Pennsylvania here, we've always been a weird animal because we had that. Remember, I had to start part time and then we had to work into full time and all that.
Yeah.
Part time's gone because of our staffing issues. These guys are graduating the academy and going right into a full time job. Whenever I got back from the military, and that was unheard of. Like I had to earn my keep and prove
Yeah.
myself. So like we have 22, 23-year olds coming out of the academy starting full time with us, which I would rather have done that. You figure I worked 3 police departments for 8 years until I got a good gig. But
Yeah.
yeah, we are struggling on the police side. Our overtime is through the roof. In the last 2 paychecks, I had over 80 hours of overtime in the last 2 paychecks.
Wow.
And I'm third in seniority. So I get to say no to a lot of things. Brighton Township used to be a destination for the police department, and we don't get applications anymore. One of our biggest hindrances, we cover the hospital. People don't want to deal with that. But yeah, law enforcement is in the same boat. Nobody wants to do it anymore. And the bad thing is we haven't had the best reputation. I have my own opinions about some of that stuff. I like to think that I'm not that kind of police officer, but the problem is they see all of us the same. Our pay has gotten better, but it's still not amazing. In Western Pennsylvania here, I probably see 6 or 7 hiring ads for full-time weekly
Yeah.
in this side of the state. When I graduated the academy in 2005, you had to beg for a job, and now they're begging people to work. So it completely flipped over. We're no better. And the same with the EMS system around here. There's nobody left. Nobody wants to do it. It seems like the EMT classes fill up, but then once they get on the truck and see what it's about, they don't last very long. Definitely, everybody's hurting, and I'm not getting any younger. Those
Yeah.
hours when I was 25, working 80-hour weeks was not hard. Now that I'm
Yeah.
43,
Yeah.
I want to go to bed. I just want to go to bed.
You're doing a great service to
Yeah.
Brighton Township. So
Yeah.
thank you. You're really saving it on multiple ends. I'm optimistic because where everything, like you said, it wasn't that long ago that all this stuff was super popular. I really think we're going to see a resurgence. What do you think?
If you look at the history of everything, it goes in a pendulum, even society. We swing through a bad time, then we come through a good time. And I'm hopeful that before I retire, see some more of the good days. But I do think I have been noticing that the academies are filling up for the law enforcement side. The academies are filling up a little more. Like Allegheny County just graduated 36. That's one of the bigger classes they've had in a long time. But it's going to take time to rebuild. This isn't going to be like a 5-year thing. Like we're looking at least 10 years to rebuild. And the bad thing is that there's going to be such a experience gap that I'm afraid that some services are going to dwindle because as those of us that have been here a while phase out, there won't be enough to train to carry on to have that experience coming out the
Yeah.
door. Like our police department, 75% of the department's under age 35.
Wow, that's a generational gap
Yes.
there.
Yes. There's only
So,
two of us working there that are in our 40s.
see, I always remember the cops being old.
As of now, I'm the third oldest guy in the department, seniority wise, been there the longest. I have
Yeah.
19 years, which isn't that long, truthfully, but I guess it is. We've had a huge turnaround and nothing against those guys, but that experience gap, like this old guys can't be there 24/7. So there's a lot of catching up that the younger generation has to do. And unfortunately, they don't have much time to do it.
There are differences between the generations and just how they respond to stuff. Is that contributing to the reputation?
It's been interesting. We got kids in the department now that you and I are old enough to be their parents.
Yeah.
And I can't talk to them the way we got talked to because they will just shut down and never come back. At my paying job, like they don't respond well to the
Hmm.
old school paramilitary discipline that used to be. There is definitely a change in the attitude. One thing I have noticed is that maybe a lacking of some life skills because of everything been on. They've been on electronics. They haven't been out and about. They haven't experienced things like not to be weird about, but like a couple of guys, we asked them like, "Have you ever been as a police officer? Have you ever been in a fight yet?" And they're like, "No, I never got in a fight." I'm like, "I'm not trying to be mean, but like, you don't know how you're going to take it till you get punched in the face the first time. And on a call, probably is not the first time to get punched in the face. Like that. Not saying I was a bad kid, but I did my share of fighting coming
Yeah.
through high school, and I guess that's not. I guess it's better that they can control their rage as teenagers, maybe. But I just laugh because some of these guys the younger guys like to start to amp things up. I'm like, I might want to chill a little. But I guess I was younger. I was definitely a lot more hot headed. So I have age on my side now. But yeah, it's definitely the interpersonal skills and just lack of experiencing life. I guess maybe I'm sounding like a boomer or something, but hindsight's 2020 when we look at stuff. But yeah, there is definitely a difference in how they handle themselves. And I saw that in the military before I retired from the military. Like
Hmm.
that I had to really adjust how we were handling things because they just did not respond to the old school ways. It is challenging for people in my position where you're trying to keep them engaged. Part of me really doesn't understand what motivates them, why they're there. A good example, a couple of years ago, I come into the station and the guys are in the back watching TV and they're watching cops. I'm like, we are the cops. Why don't you go out there and do it? Watch you go to TV. Literally, you're on duty. Go get in the car and be it. Look at me. Like, why are you in here watching TV? Whenever I was a young police officer, I was out here stopping every car, doing all kinds of craziness. Even as a young firefighter, you couldn't tell me no. And you look back at some of the ridiculousness we pulled as young firemen, you wonder why everybody yelled at us. It's just trying to understand that mentality that I'm not going to watch it on TV. I'm going to go do it if I want to do it.
I guess if you're always used to getting it through an interface, like that just becomes really normal for
Yep.
you. And then, yeah, what happens when you get it in real life? That's why I think there is going to be a resurgence because I think this like deep existential loneliness that most people have is
Yes.
because of this. Like, it's
Oh,
because you
yeah.
spend too much time on this. There are such great opportunities like joining your volunteer fire service that they need people, you
Yes.
know? And so I think people are going to find their way back. It's going to be like cool and like retro to do that stuff again. So, but
That's one thing that the community of it is you can't explain it till you experience it.
yeah.
The military and any first responder, the community, like I talk to people that I haven't seen in years, like you and I talking now. You figure it was 20 some years ago when we were firefighters together. It's weird to say, but we all stick together no matter what. We have that common bond. We know things that other people don't know. And it brings you together because of, it's that what they call it in the military, that trauma bonding. When you go
Hmm.
through that experience together, you're bonded to that person forever. It's really the only reason I have social media is
Hmm.
because I keep track of all the people I know all throughout the world I've served with, fire, police, EMS, in the military. I have so many friends that I keep in touch with that came from this community. And if I would have never joined, you figure if I would never started down this road because of my dad, my life would be totally different. And
Yeah.
I'd be boring.
I thank your dad too. I
Yep.
actually talk about it in my talks. I've been actually speaking at fire conferences and I tell them kind of a little bit of my story. And I'm like, the chief at the time jokingly asked me if I wanted to join. If your dad hadn't asked me, it wouldn't have even occurred to me. And so that did change my life, like where I am right now. Thanks,
All because
John.
all because of the fish fries. Those
I
lovely fish
know.
fries.
Yeah, how do you guys fundraise now?
So it got to the point where we were making any money. Things got too expensive with that. And then actually
Hmm.
they're probably the next month tearing the social hall down. The building was so old. Well, you remember how old it was when we were
Yeah.
young. It just got to the point where it wasn't feasible to fix it anymore. They're going to build a new community building there. We've been doing online raffles. We did a side by side last year, and we do like little things like coolers and things like that. The
Hmm.
sad part is us doing those raffles last year. We made double what we did the last time we did fish fries.
What? Are you serious? That's amazing.
When we got through the year and pulled the numbers and everything,
Uh,
all of us sat there like we used to work our tails off. And now literally we put something on Facebook, people buy tickets and we spin the bucket
yeah.
and we made more money doing that than we did making fish.
I thank God for those fish fries. So for our audience who so BTVFD used to do fundraising fish fries. Was it every Friday? Every other Friday? I forget
Every
what we've
Friday and then every
yeah.
Friday during Lent.
Yes, and every Friday Josh and I were little 12-year-olds
Yep.
running around helping child labor. And then you had the older volunteers in the back, and they seemed ancient then. Like the volunteers in the back and the ladies auxiliary, we back there bread and fish, and they'd come in early, and that was how the department made extra money.
I think we talk about it all the time with the fish fries. We do miss it because of the camaraderie we had. We were all there for
Yeah.
hours on Fridays. You remember Good Friday was like an all day thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of us would show up at 4 in the morning, eat
Mm-hmm.
fish for breakfast, which isn't that terrible, but it's interesting. Then we'd go home for a little bit and come back at 2 in the afternoon and
Yeah.
run. Some nights, you figure we stay there playing cards or something. Some nights till that was our leisure time with everybody. And
Yeah.
part of me, I missed that aspect. We all hung out together. We all did that stuff together. Everybody got to know each other really well. We
Yeah.
don't really have that now because now guys come to calls, come to trainings. But even after training, like people don't want to hang out like it used to be. Again, it's a different clientele. But those fish fries used to be that rite of passage. And
Those were good times, like good
oh,
memories. And I was so mad at my parents because they signed me up at 12. I was pretty chubby. I don't remember if you had a, did you have a chubby phase too?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah.
so they're like, you should
Still
probably get some
do.
exercise. So, I was like, God damn it, mom and dad. But
Well,
then I just felt, even as a 12-year-old girl, I recognized something in my life had been missing that was filled at hanging out with firefighters. Ooh, mic drop there. There's just something about it. I got hooked then.
all of our craziness. You remember the roll fights when we used to throw the dinner
Yes.
rolls at each other?
Yeah, we'd throw rolls at each other, and that has never left me. But
Yeah,
anyway, we could reminisce, I'm sure, for
yes,
hours.
exactly.
But I want to talk about mental health a little bit. Out here, it is like the hottest topic ever. So, what's going on the volunteer side, like with you guys? I know you're a hybrid department now, but has that reached Western PA? Are you talking about mental health on the fire or law enforcement side? Is anything being done preventatively, or what's the state?
With us, it's a little different, I would say. Western Pennsylvania is always, unfortunately, a little behind the power curve with everything, but it is starting to permeate here also.
Okay.
But with a bunch of us being in the military has had that hot topic for years, and we've brought a lot of that with us.
Okay.
So here at our department, we've definitely talked about it all the time. The county does finally have a team in place, and through the insurance company, we have extra policies to cover all these guys, whatever they need. We have debriefings, things like that. Even on the police side, it's definitely become more front and center.
Okay.
Unfortunately, calls aren't getting any better. All of us, like even me, I got to the point where I took a little break because I was like, I need a break. I can't do this right now. I had an incident on the police department that sort of pushed me over the edge. I was lucky that I had the military side that I utilized resources through them.
Oh, okay.
They I've worked everything through them. There's still some of the old school thinking where fuck it up, we all got to deal with it, which is it doesn't work. We all know
Hmm.
that. I feel it doesn't work. It's starting slowly to seep in out here, and again, like since it's mainly volunteer around here, and
Mm.
the only large paid department is the city of Pittsburgh, and we
Yeah.
don't have direct contact with them. Like it takes a while for things to flow,
Hmm.
especially from the paid side. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, it does. No, I was just curious because if that was now, because I'm guessing your paid folks have EAP or something
Yes.
like, yeah.
Yes, we have all that set up.
Do the volunteers have access to?
Through the Relief Association, we pay for extra insurance to cover all that. Anybody needs anything, and we make sure after every incident, we give everybody the numbers, tell anybody you need to talk to us off to the side. We keep an eye on the guys. If we see somebody's like a little distant than normal, we go and talk to them. We have had guys that we've had to send to counseling for a while. And we've told them, like, we have a couple guys that are on the department. They don't really answer calls a lot anymore, but they still want to help administratively. And that's perfectly fine too. We want you to be a part of the organization, but we understand that right now you just don't want to go see the emergencies. We don't push anybody into anything. We try to slow roll stuff as much as we
Nice.
can. And the bad thing is, you being a volunteer, like we're the backseat person to their main job to try to help and see, what they need. Even if it turns into a workers' comp issue, like we make sure they are 100% covered for all of their salary. We don't let our volunteers suffer in any way financially because of
Yeah.
anything mental or physical that happens here at this building.
I could think of a couple incidents that happened at the station that I was like, I wish I would have had somebody to talk to about that.
Yes, as you look back, like, I don't know, I'd like to talk to somebody. Like, what did I just see? I'm a 16-year-old. I probably shouldn't have seen what I saw. I'm not
Yeah.
really ready for this. And like you and I coming in young, we're not really mature yet, and we're being thrown into calls like this would mess up someone that's got 20 years on the job, let alone
Well,
a
you're
teenager
fortunate you
in high
had your
school.
dad. Did you ever talk to stuff with your
Yeah,
dad?
yeah, I was fortunate in that I could talk to my dad about it. But then it's weird though. It's a father-son relationship, and being Italians, we're not exactly the best communicators. When you're talking to your dad, especially when you're a young teenager, like I didn't want to show that I was weak and I couldn't handle the job. I didn't know
Yeah.
what the expectations were, and because my dad never, as kids, he never brought any of this stuff up. And truthfully, since the big incident I had at the police department, my dad and I started talking a lot more.
Okay.
And I started saying, "Can we just talk?" Because he could tell like I was not, my eggs were scrambled. Like he could
Yeah.
tell me like, my cup was full. I can't do this right now. So we
Yeah.
started talking more, and he started. I think it helped him too because he started talking about stuff that happened while he was on calls years ago and stuff that
Mm-hmm.
stuck with him and things like that. Because I
Mm-hmm.
know we can talk to our wives and stuff like that, but like as well as I do, it's different talking to another first responder that understands the thing. And I'm thankful that my wife wants nothing to do with emergency services because when I go home, you don't have to talk about it. But on the other end, it is nice to have that other person to talk to that understands like what happened at the call and why you're second guessing what happened because did I do the right thing, things like that. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, I think a lot of guys struggle with that is the what ifs.
Mm-hmm.
What if we got out the door quicker? Or what if I would have did this different? What if,
Yeah.
and you can what if everything to death and
Mm-hmm.
you can only do what you can do. And the way
Mm-hmm.
it happened, it happened. Other than that, as long as you can tell yourself that I did the best job that I could, there's a certain street in the township I will not drive down to this day. To this day.
Really?
No, I should say that I did it once just to prove that I could do it. But other
Mm-hmm.
than that, I just drive by it every day. Don't want to go down it because of
Mm-hmm.
what happened. And
Wow.
I don't know if that's a good coping mechanism. I've talked to people about it, and they're like, "Well, as long as you know you can go there for a call, I've proved I can make it without freaking
Yeah.
out." So, unfortunately, that stuff sticks with us. But as long as you have a healthy talk with people and try to, it's okay to talk. It's right to talk. I'm not saying the guys before us did anything different, but like they sort of put it out there that like you just need to shut up and color and deal
Mm-hmm.
with it. I've been around the block long enough to know, oh, that doesn't work. That it causes problems everywhere, not just in your professional life, but your personal life and everything else. And I think the biggest thing is I do stress this to the young guys, especially the police department because we did have it last year, we had an officer involved shooting out here. And I make sure I talk to all the young guys. Like, if you need to talk, call me. I don't
Mm-hmm.
care what time it is. Call me. We'll talk. We'll get you the right people. Don't be embarrassed that you're having trouble because no one ever wants to be put in that situation. Like, and unfortunately, like I told him, like I've never had to do that, thank God. So I can't relate, but I will find someone that can relate to you. You guys can talk to that understands that situation.
Yeah.
I never got told that when I was younger. I'm sure you didn't. Me as a supervisor now, like I try to reiterate to these young guys, you can talk. Like we can talk. It's no
Mm-hmm.
harm, no foul. No one's going to hold it against you. This is the way to handle it, not swallowing it and waiting for everything to explode later in your life.
Oh, yeah. Do you guys have peer support in law enforcement? Is that something you guys do? Because I know in fire, like a lot of the paid departments here have whole
So
teams.
we don't officially have it, but those of us that are sergeants, there's three of us.
Mm.
We make sure the guys know, like, hey, we're here for you.
Yeah.
Whatever you need, we will facilitate. Just we need to
Nice.
know. We need to know. If we don't know, we can't help you. It's
Yeah.
not officially a peer support thing. There's still some older thinking and nothing's ever been put in writing yet, but
Yeah.
us younger supervisors are trying to push it. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the interesting thing though, so with these more complex like peer support teams or people have been like formally trained, confidentiality is still a big issue. You don't necessarily want to go to someone who's in your same department because then everybody's gonna know your business if they got a loose lips.
Oh yeah, no, I get that. Yes.
So there's this like interesting, like I would love to talk to someone that knows me, but then if I talk to someone that knows me, everyone's gonna know my biz. And that was one of the things I learned being the only chick in our department. I remember trainings where it was just me and then all you guys. And I'm like, oh my God, men gossip even worse than women. That's what I learned. So
Yeah.
I was like, you can't trust anybody.
You know how we're a small township, small departments. It's a small county. Like we only have 17 police officers. Even if you're off work, everybody's like, why is he off? What's going on? Like
Yeah.
it immediately starts. So yeah, I believe me, I understand that completely because the smaller the department, the worse the gossip is. Because at
Yeah.
least in a bigger department, okay, one shift might know something's going on. But in a
Hmm.
small one, like literally everybody knows your business or wants to know your business. And we have definitely run into that issue. We definitely have. It's an interesting thing trying to work around it.
Hmm.
And the bad thing is when people don't know, they like to talk things up. So then you have to control that to a point without letting everything out of the bag. And sometimes I wish I was in a larger department where I could just hide on a shift and not know everybody and see everybody every day. Sometimes it's a little taxing, especially whenever. And again, you get the younger guys that are just, and I'm not privy to half their conversations because they're on Snapchat and stuff, and I refuse to get on there. So they're snapping each other all kinds of craziness at work, and then I hear about it offhand, and I'm like, no, 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 that is not what's going on. Where are you guys getting stuff? So then it's like times 10. But the bad thing is then the guys are freaking out. What are they saying about me? So yeah, it's a whole, it's like dizzying trying to keep track of everybody and handle all this stuff. I don't think it'll ever change, unfortunately. There's more drama in emergency services because we all like to run our mouth. Like if you just sit and listen for 10 minutes, you find out everybody's marital status, what's going on at home, who doesn't like what, is whether they're there or not, their story's being told.
I found after I left, I was like perpetuating the drama in my own life. Like I fed off of the highs and the lows, and like you get addicted to like the
Yes.
theatrics of it because you miss it because regular life gets so boring without that stuff.
Yes.
So I had to really work to calm all that down and be like, all right, I'm not going to lose my mind today. I really need to stay centered.
And I've gone through the same thing. You remember the hothead. I started having some health problems. And I had to speak to some people and had some self realizations that like I need to stop this. When I go to the doctor, my blood pressure is 170 over 110. They're
Hmm.
like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I was like, "Oh." So I've definitely like tried to not play into all that stuff, not lose my cool, just think about things. And again, I have age on my side now. I'm not a young, crazy guy that I used to be. I'm still a little crazy, but definitely in the last couple of years, I've had to really slow it down, not get wound up. What can I control today? And just work through that. And then if I have to remove myself from a situation, I remove myself before I blow my top and start screaming at people and calling them words they never heard before. And the knife hand comes out. Even though some of these guys like poking me because they enjoy watching me flip out on people, because that became a game that I didn't know they were doing.
Oh,
They would purposely tell on people to go scream at them. I was like, you guys are not helping me here. I had to pull myself back, even at police and fire. Like, I can control what I can control. Yeah, I actually got to the point for a little while where I had to, when the pager would go off, I had to sit there and think, am I in the right mental space to go handle this emergency right now?
mm,
So I don't know if we really talk about this. My son, Easton, is autistic. He's high functioning
hmm,
autistic. So
hmm,
my home life is chaos too. So
yeah.
depending on where we're at in the day with him, like I got to the point where I would come here amped up already because I was stressed out from dealing with whatever things were going on at home with him. And then I come here and then these guys light me off. And now I'm just, my blood pressure's through the roof. Like I'm getting headaches because I'm so mad. Like I can't
Hmm.
do this. So I literally, when pager goes off, I'll sit there. Am I in the right mental space to be an asset on this call? And if I'm not, I stay home or I tell the guys I'll come cover the station. If it's like mutual aid or something, I'll come cover the station. We get something else, I'll handle it locally. Stuff like that. I try to, but that was a big change for me because I was the first one on the truck, but like now I literally sit back sometimes. I'm like, I am not mentally capable of handling this emergency in an appropriate way, be it a value added Like
Hmm.
if I'm just going to make things worse because I'm going to lose my mind on somebody and I'm just going to cause more chaos than I'm worth.
Yeah.
So that's something I've been doing lately, which is a lot of the
Nice.
guys, they've been like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good. I have a lot going on in my life. And not that I don't want to respond, but the fire department doesn't pay my bills. If I come here and I am not able to help, there's no reason for me to come get on the truck."
Exactly. You giving your time to the department. So I think that's a great strategy of doing that self check. I think more career people would benefit from that too. They have to respond when they're in shift, but like just having that little gut check before you go out of like, okay, I'm just gonna let whatever's on my mind go right now so I can, because especially, yeah, when you said running the same call for the sixth time in a day on the same drunk person, and it's really tempting to just be like, what the f is wrong with you? Like, just to treat them like shit because you're carrying over from every other experience you've had with them.
And the bad thing is when you're in that mental, you're distracted because you're so angry that you're really not focusing on what's going on.
Yeah.
And especially my police work, like that, I always think about like when I'm distracted, that's when I'm going to get hurt or killed because I'm
Hmm.
not going to catch that little movement or something that
Hmm.
I should have that would have saved me or did something else. And even like going on a regular emergency, like even with medical emergencies, like if you're not 100% focused on that patient and you're just like, this asshole has called 17 times, well, maybe now they are having a real medical emergency. You're just so pissed off, you're just not even looking at it. And then, they wait, get called the next morning because they're dead because you didn't take them or something. Like that distraction, the mental distraction is not good for any of us because we're not 100% on our game and we're not able to provide the service that we need to provide, whether we're tired, whether we're pissed off, whether we're just burnt out. Like there was a big discussion we've been having on the police side, mental health days. Because sometimes when you have a bad week, you just don't want to come in. And a lot of the older guys don't understand that. You need to be sick to use sick time. If I'm not mentally right to be here, I shouldn't be here. And sometimes you just need a day just to vent. And that's something I think that needs to be more normalized is understand like if I'm not mentally capable of handling this shift, I shouldn't be there. I'm going to be a detriment and a problem to everybody. Not that people should abuse their call off times and things like that, but like if everybody does that check and be like, I'm not, everybody takes things to extremes, but I think most people would be like, some stuff happened at home. Even if you got to take a half a shift off, I'll
Hmm.
be in half. Let me get myself, because if you're angry coming into work, it's going to carry you the whole way through your shift.
Oh, yeah.
And if you got a busy shift, you're just getting angrier, call after call after call. It's just building.
Yeah.
And when you take your focus off the ball,
Hmm.
and it could be bad for everybody. And the bad thing, like being a volunteer, like I don't get to choose like when my shift is. Well, sometimes I can now with these shift things, but in the middle
Hmm.
of the night, like I got to do a quick mental reset. Am I good? Am I
Hmm.
good to do this? Like, let's go. Okay. All right. I just think everybody needs to understand themselves and not be afraid to say, you don't have to be a Superman. It's okay to miss a run. There's going to
Yeah.
be more tomorrow. Every day, it's never going to end. I come to that realization 2 years ago. We got mad when we missed a call. Now I miss a fire. I'm like, not to be rude, but somebody else going to burn their house down next week. If you can't value add, it's detrimental getting on the rig or going to the call. Again, like if you're on duty, you have to go. You have to do your thing. It should be normalized that people can take a look at themselves and be like, yeah, I need a minute.
No, it's constant self-awareness. Like
Yeah.
it's so critical because you're right. It does distract you, and then that's when you make a bad call and you can hurt yourself or someone else. So yeah, I totally agree. That's awesome. Thank you for verbalizing all of that. I like how you put it. Anything else that we haven't said today? I'm sure, Josh, we could go for another 3 hours together, but as we kind of wrap things up, any closing thoughts on anything we didn't say you think people need to hear about mental health, first responders?
Like strategy wise, I've talked to people about like not that I don't love my jobs. I wouldn't be here. I love being a police officer. I still love being a firefighter. I love being an EMT. I just don't like doing it on the ambulance. I like being able to treat them and hand them over. You got to take time for yourself and detach. Like this used to be my life. Everything revolved around it. God, the decorations of my house were fire police. And I'll be honest, like it didn't help because it was 24/7. When I'm off duty, I like to detach. I'll listen to a podcast as a comedy or something like Bad Friends or Your Mom's House or Two Bears, One Cave, and all those goofy ones. It makes me laugh because they have the kind of humor we understand, the toilet humor and fart jokes and stupid stuff.
Hmm.
I like to read too. And
Hmm.
I do read some fire books, some motivational books, but it doesn't help my emotions. I try to find something that takes me someplace other than the fire station or the police station that detaches my mind.
Hmm.
And the reading thing I started, I was working steady 311s at the police department. I would come home and I would read at least a chapter of a book because I would envelop myself into that book. And it literally would change my mindset because I'd be thinking about what I read, not the person I just fought an hour ago at the hospital, some other craziness that happened at work. And it would just help me switch my mind off from whatever was going on at work, decompress, and then finally get to bed. We all know like trying to sleep after a long shift is almost impossible. I always tell people I recommend like finding a hobby that's not the emergency services. Again, like
Hmm.
I love everything I do. I
Hmm.
wouldn't still be doing it. Even running calls today. I was engine operator all day. We probably put 40 miles on the engine. We were running so much, but I'm like a
Hmm.
kid in a candy store driving the engine. So I still love it. But when I go home tonight, I'm gonna hang out with my kids. We might watch some stupid thing on TV, and it's not gonna be anything with the fire police department. It's gonna be us and some silly thing that the kids want to watch. I'm done for the day. That's my biggest thing is as much as we love the immersive services, making it our entire lives enveloping is not good. In my opinion, this is just Josh's opinion. Living it every day, every hour is not good. And you need to just
Hmm.
detach and be able to separate some of it. I'm
Yeah.
grateful that I have a family that, and my daughter, she wants nothing to do with immersive services. So that makes it easy too.
Mhm.
When I hang out with her, she literally doesn't even want to hear what anything happens. So that'd be the thing. Just find that way to detach. And I wouldn't say distract yourself, but change your mindset and try
Mhm.
to reset your brain to something a little more appealing than what happened at work.
Yeah, that's one of the skills I teach. It's part of mental performance. Have a couple of alter egos that you use where you just totally get out of this. Because
Yeah.
then when you can do that, then when I think you build that muscle of attention and then when something's really bothering you, you're able to take like a break from it. Because I think that's when people really get in trouble is when they're so, like you said, enveloped in something that they cannot, it's like suffocating. When they can't get it off their mind, it's haunting them. Like you have to be able to detach. Exactly. It's a great skill to have in life, especially if you're Italian. You gotta
Yeah.
let go. Typically at this point, I would ask for the resources, but you mentioned your favorite comedy shows. I'll go back and rewind the tape and I'll link them below. Thanks again, Josh, for coming on the show. It was really fun having
Thanks for
you.
having
Thank you to our community members. If you're still watching, you're amazing. We appreciate you. And if you have any follow up or feedback or questions after this episode, feel free to drop me a line at info@firepowerx.com. And guys, we'll see you in the next webinar. Thanks for joining us today. Bye.